Well, welcome back to the Regular Dad Podcast. That's not Jimmy, that's Logan Davis. We are filming, not live, but we are filming on location in my living room. It's just a different vibe, So anyway, our dogs are here. They know you because you're here a lot.
Well, yes.
Yeah. I mean, you still have the garage door opener access on your phone.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sometimes I just press it just to give you a little scare every once in a while.
What the hell is going on with my garage door? It's over there, and I get the notice on my phone. Logan Davis, you're having fun. Yeah, appreciate it. So we are, what is this, Jimmy, episode 17? Yeah? Okay. You can say stuff. I mean, okay.
I'm concentrating.
All right, so Logan, you're not a dad, but we're doing a series of interviews right now that will be, playing throughout this month, and I wanted to have you on. I know enough about your story to know, okay, if Logan would be willing to share any of this story, it could speak to a lot of people. So, but you grew up without a dad. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So that's what you're going to hear, is what your life has been like, with that absence, how you've overcome different things that you've encountered, and how you've overcome them, different things. But if you will, just tell us how old you are, what you currently do for a living. I like to know the little jobs that you've had because it shows people a progression and you're consistent plowing forward. So,
yeah. So I just turned 23, not that long ago, a couple weeks ago. And
what'd you do for your birthday?
I had a meal at what do we call your restaurant?
Shea Shelton? I don't know. I don't know.
I had a wonderful pork chop made by yours truly.
That joker was nuts.
Yeah,
3-bone.
I've never.
We'll put a picture up.
Never had a better piece of pork in my life. So that was amazing.
The best pork you ever had. Mm-hmm. Okay, sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry.
I'm currently full-time staff at High Ridge Church. Work in the creative department, mostly social media.
Yeah.
And little things here and there, production-wise. And
if in doubt, ask Logan.
Yes, I do know a lot of things about a lot of areas.
Yeah.
So
you're the church Google now.
Yep, right behind Grace. I'm like the Yahoo.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Grace is the
fair.
Google.
That's fair.
I'm maybe like Bing at best.
Yeah. There you go.
So
you're shouldering the load.
Yeah.
She was getting Googled to death.
Yeah, exactly. Got a little too big.
Yeah. So, all right. So what did you do before that?
So I did construction management, did some project management.
You were a killer project manager. Learned by the seat of your pants.
Yeah, definitely did.
It was like, it's like how John Wayne taught that kid to swim. In that he just.
That is exactly what it felt.
Yeah.
Got that job because of
he worked for me.
Yeah. Got the job because your wife, she made a resume so good for me,
right?
That you just couldn't help yourself.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I'm like lied my way right onto that job.
Look at you go. Let's do it. But before that, where were you?
I worked at the ice cream shop.
Yep.
Manager.
Wild Honey Creamery. Mm-hmm. Doctors Justin and Sarah Ward.
Love them.
Yeah, they're great people. People. And now, but the Wild Honey thing, that's like her baby, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's their
they have
business
done
baby.
Nothing to help me lose any weight whatsoever.
No. And whenever
Love them
I
still, but
whenever I worked there, I definitely want the increase for sure.
Yes. You at age 23, you're very trim and athletic, and you've returned to this.
Well,
there was a little ice cream that you brought with you.
To
when you went to work for me, but that is
definitely
that is gone.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
So All right. So I know that mostly you grew up living with your grandparents, and I know that your mom wasn't around much. But was there ever a time that you were with her, or
Yeah. So
was she like with y'all at your grandparents' house?
yeah, she was with us at my grandparents and stuff. So they definitely helped raise me, and she was there. And she would go and work, and they would watch me and stuff. So for the first like 7-8 years of my life, that's how it was. And then she got married, and so that's whenever I started doing the back and forth between my mom's house and then my grandparents' house.
Holy cow! But that was rough.
It was very interesting. Oddly enough, I connected with some of the kids at my school that had divorced parents because of that. Because I understood this traveling back and forth. I just didn't understand the reasoning behind it. I was we've all got our weekend bags. I'm like, oh, where are you going?
Weekend bags.
Where are you going? They're like, oh, I'm going to my grandparents. They're like, oh, I'm going to my dad's. I'm like, oh yeah, I got my bag too.
So we have a mutual friend, and she is back and forth to Dallas every other weekend, and she's very upbeat about it. They all get along well, but I'm just like, dear God, that is a lot.
It's a lot. It's definitely
it's a lot on her, but that's a challenge. So yeah. All right. So, and not to focus, too much, on your mom or anything or that situation, but you, at least when I met you, what I knew of your most recent time is that you were with your grandparents essentially full time. Going to school in Longview. You grew up all the way through adulthood entirely without having a dad, because even when your mom got married, there was no father figure component. And if our dogs bark, this is just part of it. Yeah. Okay. Clearly, UPS is here to deliver the bombs that our dogs think are coming. So, yeah, it's too early for anyone else to be here.
Oh, good.
Could you get out of the camera?
It's just in here.
Perfect.
That's her.
Yep. Well, if you'll put that blanket down there on the couch, he'll go lay on the soft blanket.
Go ahead and stop.
Me too, Baxter.
Yep. Well, now Penny wants to play. This is what we do on the regular, Dad. We film. Get out of the camera. Hey, come here. Get out. You too. Now we've got to figure out something to do with him. Okay. Yeah.
My bad.
Well, they finally woke up for the day to spend their 2 hours of life before they start their nap cycle. All right. Sorry about all that. All right. So you even, this is sad for me because I know you, love you like one of my own. And just, I think the world of you. But you actually, there was a name that you had in fantasy football.
Oh yeah.
And I saw a screenshot of it. You posted something on, I don't know if it's Facebook or what it was, but I saw that and I was like, oh my God. Okay. So, but what was the fantasy football?
Yeah, that was the Longview Knows No Father. that was a good first team name. It was my first year in fantasy football. I had to find a good name. I heard all these great names. So I had to find one, which comes from not, we didn't figure out who my biological father was until I was 20. So we didn't have quite an idea of who it was until I was 20 years old. So just a few short years ago.
Wow. Now, all right. So I'm going to circle back to that. So Yeah, Logan knows no father. On that was that was a gut wrenching thing. You've made the best from what is an otherwise really crappy, scenario.
I've tried.
So, riddle me this. Tell me, how old were you when you first realized that your environment, your living arrangements, your upbringing was different than what we would say in our world, in our culture, is the norm?
Probably about 6 or 7, I think. I think 6 or 7 was probably about it, because that's whenever my mom was talking to who she would eventually marry.
Yep.
And so I was kind of like, okay, wait a second. Like, something's not clicking here. Like, other people's parents, like, that's their dad. And, like, I'm not getting, like, she's having to explain to me that that's, like, he's going to be our dad, but he's not my biological father. Like, stuff like that.
Right.
So I finally started clicking some of that stuff together.
Yeah, yeah. That is a tremendous amount for a child to carry. It's too much. Our kids are adopted, and they were a little bit younger than that, and I mean, they knew what was going on because they were bouncing around from place to place. Mm-hmm. And knowing through them what they've carried, and just trying to scale that to you. And then, though there was some stability with your grandparents, it's still a very tumultuous and awkward environment. It's hard to have roots. It's hard to have the structure that you need that gives you a lot of security and safety. So that's God bless. So that's a tremendously young age. And I don't know. I mean, you went to a Christian school, at least for high school. Was that your education experience all the way, or did you ever go? Okay, so
Yeah, 1st through 12th there.
So I hesitate to ask this, but were you ever picked on for your arrangements once people caught on to the fact that hey, Logan doesn't have a dad or anything like that? Was that ever?
I don't think so. Not
Okay.
Nothing that like hurt me pretty bad or anything. Okay. I remember people like talking
kids
about
are
it.
brutal.
Kids are brutal. They definitely are.
So.
But nothing I don't think anything out of the ordinary either.
Okay.
But most of my friends and everything understood the situation and kind of what was going on, and they were pretty kind about it. So that was very nice.
All right. So they hey, are y'all celebrating Father's Day this weekend? There's none of that.
No,
So, okay.
yeah, none of that.
Oh, good,
luckily.
good. Nice of them to not do that. Be sensitive.
This is true.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let's see. Were there any instances, let's say at school, or just in life, or things where you remember at a young age going, man, I really wish I could ask my dad that?
Yeah, I think one of the most memorable ones was we were in science class, and we were doing the like eye color chart and like blood type.
Oh, crap.
And all this stuff. So it's like, well, you had to get like your hair color from your mom and your dad and stuff. And so we were looking down there, and I was trying to. I was like going through this, and I just kind of forgotten about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I don't know half of this. And so, of course, it was for like a
Exactly
grade.
half of this.
Exactly, yeah. So, of course, it was for a grade. And so, we were like, so I go to the teacher, I was like, hey, I got all this on my mom's side. We don't know who my dad is. And this poor teacher, she was really sweet, but she just the social intelligence probably wasn't there a little bit. And she was like, no, you have to just, you just have to like ask him, and you have to ask this. And I'm like, no, like, I don't, like, my family doesn't know who he is. She's like, well, have you like ever reached out? I'm like, no,
Sweet
I don't
baby
think
Jesus.
you realize we don't know who he is. And she was like,
gosh.
okay. She's like, just that one half is fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. Then you got the teacher at the Christian school going, "Oh, son of a," she goes out in the hallway to cuss.
Yeah, that's probably the first time that she's ever had to deal with that. So
Okay.
I remember that one I remember well just because of I'm just like, oh, I kind of forgot about needing to know that kind of stuff. And that sparked the kind of some of my thoughts about like, man, I really don't like, especially like about me or like my health, and like there's a lot I don't know, and it kind of maybe worries me a little bit because there's some, usually you'll know if what sides of the family have like heart conditions, or maybe they have, there's a better or more higher chance of cancer or such sort of things.
Right.
So I'm just kind of,
Yes.
I don't know about that. Don't know about that other half.
So all right. So I know this is a broad question, but can you say what you feel like you missed out on the most? Is there an overarching theme, or that right there? Or, I mean, do you have whatever? It can be broad or specific, but I know that's a very broad question.
Yeah, I think looking back now, I think it's just like almost like gaps in like memories where I feel like I should have some memories. Like, like, man, this would be a really cool moment, or this would have been really cool if this was something that me and my father did. Like, this would have been great if I would have learned this, and my father was next to me.
Right.
And he had taught me, or he had like let me learn this lesson. He was there, and this is why. I feel like there's a lot of things that like I've had to figure out that I don't necessarily know the why to it. I just knew that being a man and like having to take care of some of this stuff was just kind of something that you did. And it's just something that you figured out. And sometimes I feel like I look back or I hear stories and I'm like, oh, this is where like a dad would have probably stepped in, or my father would have stepped in and been like, this is kind of why. This is the reason that we do this, or this is the reason this is good for you.
Okay.
Other than just like, well, you need to do it because you have to, and you're an adult and you're, a dude.
God. All right. So here's what I've seen about you, because I didn't know your story to speak of at all, and Pastor Doug at church, connected us, everything. But I remember very early out of the gate seeing how high capacity that you were. Mm-hmm. Okay. And you kind of think, okay, well, if dad's not there to teach you things, and, you're with your grandparents and they're not really in the teaching mode, anymore, because they've taught, and that's, it's not what they're practiced at doing, and different things. Like, all right, so where did you come up with this capacity? And you kind of said the statement earlier, stuff you figure out. Mm-hmm. And you figure stuff out on the fly very well. So that's a coping mechanism or something, I guess. I don't know, but you're very observant in when something needs to happen. Like, I didn't have to. When you're doing project management for me, I didn't have to teach you efficiency. You knew it. You could feel it, and you could feel that it was needed. But it's like a survival instinct. Like, I got to know how to freaking figure it out, and I better figure it out in a hurry because there ain't no one around to tell me. Mm-hmm. So that is a terrible muscle to have. It's not bad to have it. It's bad to have had to develop it in the way that you had to.
Yeah.
Because I did too, but my dad was sitting there coaching me. What do you do? Mm-hmm. What do you do? What do you do? And he wouldn't feed me the answers. He would sit there and, poke on me and ask me the questions. Think about this. Think about that. So, but you didn't have the comfort of knowing that, because my dad was a parachute. You didn't have a parachute.
Yeah.
You had to fly. That was
Yes.
your option.
Yeah.
Smack or fly. Mm-hmm. So, God bless. Okay. Now, but your dad, he abandoned you. He did it because he knew about you. Yeah.
Sort of. It was an interesting situation. Like, sort of did, but it was never confirmed. So he never went farther into the investigation. So.
Okay. All right. So did you then? And so in that case, I mean, I guess I don't know. Were you ever angry at him or feel like he had abandoned you?
I think that it was don't think I'd say I was angry.
Okay.
I think that because I was so young, because like it's not like he was there when my mom gave birth. He wasn't there during, like, I never saw him, never could, like, I couldn't put a face to him besides maybe my own, like, or anything. So like there was no, I don't know. It's hard to be angry at something that like almost doesn't exist.
Gotcha.
And so it was, for me, I think it was more of the lack thereof than whether like, than having somewhere to point to blame.
Sure.
Kind of deal. And so it's just like, I knew that there was gap, knew that there was a void of something. And then I'm being told it's this. And I'm like trying to wrestle with like how I'm going to deal with that.
Right. Okay.
I think so I don't feel like I got like super angry. And so I think whenever he reached out and I finally like met him for the first time, I think it was like kind of maybe easy to forgive just because it's like, I didn't ever, because it was just like something that like didn't exist and now it does.
Right. Okay. Well, and that's probably good for you that you weren't carrying feelings of anger and animosity with everything else that you had to carry in order to survive. So fast forward a number of years, you actually met your dad a couple years ago, was it?
Yeah, about three-ish years ago.
What was that like?
Yeah, so he had reached out and
He contacted you.
he contacted me. Yes.
Okay.
So we knew that there was some possibilities, but we still didn't know like who. And so he ended up reaching out because he felt like the more and more that he saw, he had seen me on Facebook and stuff that my mom had posted and stuff. Yeah, so he thought there was a possibility. So he wanted to make sure himself and not that way he didn't feel like he had, another kid out there that he didn't know about.
That's respectable.
Yeah. So then we had met, I talked to him. He told me his story. I'm just like, yeah, that probably checks out. That sounds about right. Yeah.
We know the same person.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And so after a year, we had then we did a paternity test just to check.
Okay.
And it was like 99% accurate or whatever. So it was just like
One would say that suggests that there is a very distinct possibility.
Yes.
99%.
Yes.
So,
And so
we need the Mari sound bit. You are the father. So
yes. And so, but he's been very kind, very, very.
okay.
He's definitely in a better place in life now than he was whenever I was growing up.
Okay.
So I really feel like that's kind of the Lord's timing on some of that stuff, where it's like, kind of protecting me from that time where he was doing that. Like he was into some drugs and some different things, and so he wasn't very proud of that time, especially me growing up.
Yeah.
But now all he talks about is Jesus, which is awesome. So whenever I talk to him, it's very,
There you go.
yeah, it's a good time in his life for me to be talking to him.
Good. Okay. So, I think and you've kind of have answered that. So y'all have contact today. So, all right. So let's see. A father is a role model. You grew up with the absence of that, especially in that phase. What? Sorry. So, father is a role model. I'm working. Okay. We'll try this a third time. Father is a role model. Do you have any guys in your life that you look to on the regular? I know you have a lot of people you can look to in the church environment that you're in and the social environment that you're connected to. But do you have any, that's a go-to, kind of guy?
Yeah, definitely. So like even growing up, like I grew up without a dad, and where like I knew that there was absence of, but I definitely didn't grow up with a lack of father figures.
Right.
So even from super young, there was coaches and teachers and all kinds of different men in my life that I've looked up to. Especially so like right now I've got, there's probably three or four guys that I could
We share one of them.
We do share one.
We call on him a lot.
Yeah, so right now
We're looking at you, Doug.
Yeah, I've got 3 or 4 men in my life where I know that I could go to them for anything that I would possibly need, especially something that you might, go to your own dad to. Couple maybe grandfathers, but
Hey.
a couple of more like father figures.
You looked at me when you said grandfather. Am I that old?
No, more father for you.
Do you want me to are you asking me to teach you how to grill? 'Cause I will.
I'm gonna need you to teach me that regardless, but like Bill Leckie. Bill Leckie's like
Oh my gosh, that's my mentor.
yeah, he's like a grandfather figure.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he will set you straight in a loving way.
Yes.
But
Yes.
if you go into a meeting with him with the kink in the wire, he'll straighten it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you just you will you'll leave with the broken hip. I'll tell you because he. I love it, and he great, just greatness. All right, so let's see. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there whose situation is not dissimilar from yours, and in some cases could be worse than yours. Maybe it's not as bad, but still, okay. How would you encourage anyone who's growing up in a similar situation?
Mm-hmm. I think that once you can realize that you have a choice and that, especially for your actions and the things that you, the way that you handle situations,
Yeah.
I think because you have a choice, if you'll look at the people around you and, take the good and leave the bad,
Okay.
I think that's the thing that has boosted me as far as I've gotten, is that I've had to, because of somebody that's not there to directly teach me,
Yep.
there's not somebody directly leading me in a certain way. I've had to take what's good around me and the good situations of my family, the men in my life, my coaches, my teachers, just anybody and everybody that I've listened to or been around. I've taken the good things or I've attempted to take the good things,
Hey.
that they've done in their own lives, that they've taught me that how I see them handle situations, taken all the good, and I've tried to apply that to my life. And the bad stuff, I just have to leave, and I don't blame them for anything that maybe that didn't come across the way that they wanted it to. And and if it's directly bad and they meant, even if they meant it, I still leave that behind and leave that, and not add that to my life.
All right. Let's see. So how then would you encourage any fathers out there that's similar to yours? I'm assuming you would encourage them, but but how? What advice or encouragement would you give to them?
I think one of the best things for me personally in my situation was that my biological father did wait till he was in a good place.
Yeah.
Instead of just maybe reaching out on instinct or out of fear that maybe I'd come looking or somebody would come looking. Whether he did it on purpose or not, he did wait till he was in a much better mindset place. He was clean.
Yeah.
He had been sober for 4 or 5 years. Yeah. He was in a way better mental state than he was when maybe he had some of his first ideas that I was around.
Okay.
And so I would, if you think that that's a possibility, like that you may have some kids that you don't know about or you're thinking about reaching out, I would definitely suggest and encourage that you get in a good place yourself and then try to enter their lives, because there's nothing that's going to hurt them worse than them having to pick up more of your baggage.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't feel like I had to do that at all.
Okay.
Like we had set some pretty
That's good.
set some pretty
Here's
good
some more
boundaries.
baggage, son. Carry that around.
Yeah. That doesn't help anybody. That doesn't help you. It doesn't help them. It makes you feel bad.
Yeah.
And it makes their lives harder. So if you can get in a good place yourself, especially mentally, and be ready to talk about some of the questions that they're going to have, then I feel like that would probably be a good thing.
Good. All right. So last question. I know you're only 23, and I'm not trying to, I'm not looking for grandkids. Not yet. But do you want to be a father? And if so, what are you looking forward to the most?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd love to have kids one day.
I think you're cut out for it because I see you with my kids
Yeah.
and a number of other kids. I mean, you work with teenagers at the church, but all ages. I mean, they love you. So I think you're cut out for it. But so what were you looking forward to the most?
I think it's just like to fill in some of the gaps that I feel like I had. Like, whenever my kids look back one day, I want them to have those memories of me. I want them to have me like teaching them certain things and doing sports with them and being active with them and for them to see me like smiling and having fun and like just being able to be a good example of, what a man can be.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, cool deal. Logan, thank you very much for coming in and sharing your story and just making it available to others. We wish you well in your continued journey into the world of manhood and adulthood, and about the time you're 44, things, yeah. So, but I do thank you for your time, and you've done a remarkable job walking through what the hand that life dealt you. You've done very well with that. But hopefully, people will hear your story, be they a younger man like yourself, even younger, walking through some of that, or a dad that may need to make contact and engage with a son or daughter that they might have. So anyway, so thank you for that as well, and thank y'all for listening, and we'll see you next time here on The Regular Dad.
Shouldn't have to be this hard.